Brash and Sassy Llama Loving friends. I am excited because we are at step 12 for this video, the final step in the EDA steps, the 12-step program. We are at step 12, and we are going to try and make step 12 short, sweet, to the point. I don't even know what it is. Didn't even look yet. So, let's just jump right into step 12 and get this done. We'll probably talk about them more down the road, but in this little intro of just kind of going through them, hitting them one at a time, we are done. Step 12. Step 12 says, having had a spiritual awakening. That phrase is used way too lightly. But having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we try to carry this message to others with eating disorders and to practice these principles in all of our affairs. Okay. So, I mean, I made that comment. Spiritual awakening is a little overused in certain instances, but I do know that people that do the 12-step program, like in AA and whatnot, do become like very church, not all the time, but can and have become very churchy people if they weren't prior. So, spiritual awakening is not just, the holistic side of it. Alrighty. This is annoying. It's not annoying, it's just wordy. So, it says, I'm not going to read this whole paper to you, don't worry. It says, in the course of working through the first 11 steps, we will certainly have undergone a fundamental, transformational, and experience most... Oh. In the course of working the first 11 steps, we will certainly have undergone a fundamental transformation and experience that most of us describe as a spiritual awakening. I don't know why I keep saying that word, like sounding like it starts with an E. I can't apparently say awakening right now, at least not followed by spiritual. Instead of being blindsided by our issues, we now make use of them to help others. Sassy pants. Practical experience has shown us that nothing ensures continued freedom from an eating disorder as much as working with people who still have one. See, and that's like, I tried to get a job at an eating disorder facility near me a few years back, but I couldn't get to the interview, which was really sad. Because that's the whole thing too. Like, a lot of people who are addicts, either alcohol or drug, have gone on to work at facilities that they got treatment at, work at or volunteer at, either facilities that they themselves got treatment at or just another facility that helps people through addiction. And I think that's really cool. Because, I mean, you don't want to learn, like, okay, for example, you're going to college, right? And you have to take Psych 101. Now, if your psychology professor is a stay-at-home mom that barely graduated high school, she probably shouldn't be teaching you psychology. No. Your psychology professor is somebody who went to school for psychology. They might be a psychologist. Like, see, I liked classes, same thing, people that work for eating disorder places, for alcohol and drug addiction places, any of that stuff, they went to school for it. They just did. They learned about it in school. Some of them may have had that personal experience with having had that issue, but most of them learned about how to deal with those issues in college. Graduate program, doctor, whatever. liked classes where my professors were like worked in the profession. Like, so they didn't just go to school and become a professor or a teacher or whatever. They went to school. They were an attorney. They were a social worker. They were a psychologist. They were a doctor. They were whatever. And then they were teaching at the college too. Law classes, human service classes, medical classes, whatever, psych classes. They worked as that profession, and granted, it's still a little different because, well, yes, they worked that profession. They're, you know, not somebody who had brain surgery or a defendant, a murderer or something, you know, but whatever, or, you know, poverty, child abuse, whatever, social service, social work type, whatever. So it is a little different. I get that. But it's, with an issue like that, it's great to have the clinical help from, you know, a therapist, psychiatrist, doctor, social worker, whatever, who passed a test or, you know, wrote a dissertation on some case studies. That's great. Maybe you were on the fucking dean's list and just the highest GPA in your freaking, you know, master's program or whatever. Yay for you. But I also want to have this person who's been through it, who lived through it, and came out the other side. I have a very good friend who's an alcoholic and a drug addict, and he went to a facility and he got better and he started working at that facility, and he doesn't work for that facility anymore. I think it's a different facility. They might be affiliated. I don't know, but he moved to a whole nother state and is still working for that type of company, but he does multiple things through it, but it's still like a addiction recovery organization, which is fucking cool. That's really fucking cool. I love that shit. So, yeah, that was my little tangent for this step. Let's finish reading. The general principles when we're... Okay, so chapter 7 of the AA text, which is also titled Working with Others, describes what it's like to share our experience, strength, and hope with others who are afflicted as we once were, and our results have been exactly the same. Our results have been exactly the same. EDA's results. So it says, life will take on a new meaning. To watch people recover, to see them help others, to watch loneliness vanish, to see a fellowship grow up about you, to have a host of friends. This is an experience that you must not miss. We know you will not want to miss it. Frequent contact with newcomers and with each other is a bright spot in our lives. Helping others is a foundation of our recovery. A kindly act once in a while is just not enough. I like that. And then it gives this whole list of general principles for working with others. So we got question but never criticize. Our only aim is to be helpful. We allow sponsors to work directly with life situations as they are rather than trying to fix things for them. Doing so would deprive them of the opportunity to grow and mature in their recovery. An exception is when a sponsor situation is not physically safe, a sponsee's situation is not physically safe. In that case, our first objective is to do everything that we can to get them help and out of harm's way. So let newcomers share their experiences with you. And this is valuable because not only does it validate their thoughts and feelings, but it also shows you how to best approach them with introducing ideas that might be unfamiliar or might conflict with others. As you work the steps with the newcomer, share your own experiences with each step. 4 sucks. It helps to normalize the experience, providing encouragement and perspective. Model behavior that you hope your sponsee will adopt. If the newcomer does not express much interest or the sponsee loses interest in working the steps, move on to help someone else. Fuck you! When you're done being lazy, then give me a call. Wow. Move on and help someone else. We are not on a quest to save people from eating disorders. Okay, they lost me. Yes, you are! Yes, you fucking are! You're Eating Disorders Anonymous. Alrighty then. We'll read the last one. When a sponsee has finished steps 1 through 8 and has made a significant progress in making amends and has adopted a daily practice of steps 10 and 11, encourage them to start sponsoring someone else. If your sponsee is not situated where they can sponsor locally, suggest that they join an EDA online or phone meeting or write to sponsors@eatingdisordersanonymous.org and offer to serve as a sponsor. Working with others should now be a key focus as it will help your sponsee solidify the positive habits of thought and action that they have acquired through working the steps. We hope we cross paths with you as we journey through life and recovery together. And that is the last sentence of the 12 steps. And that line just pissed me off about the 12 steps again. So we're not going to let that happen. Some of it's good, some of it not so much. But all in all, it's at the very least good for diving into your own psyche, basically, and pulling out things that you may not have thought of. Like that really tedious step 4. I think the best part about step 4, and then therefore that little bit of step 10, is when it asks you to pick out how you were at fault for it, for whatever happened. Because it's not just about the who or what that did something to you. In the one video I gave, I think it was the step 11 video, or step 10 video maybe, the step 10 video, I gave an example of, I don't remember what I gave an example of. I just completely lost my train of thought. So in the step 10 video, I think it was step 10, maybe 11, I gave an example. Yeah, it would have been step 10 because it mentioned that. I gave the example of an individual who said really heinous thing to me. And it's like, okay, other than the fact that you stupid bitch, you said, the worst thing ever to me, and I, like, even in all the shitty things I said to this person, I never would have gone there. Like, I never would have gone there. Because the same could be applied to that person that she said to me. We have that similar issue in common. So I'm not going into details. But it was a heinous thing, and I could have said the exact same thing to her, but no matter how much I hated that person, how much I loathe and despise, and all the shit that was going on at the time, never in a million years would something like that come out of my mouth. I said some hateful and horrible things. Yes, I did, but never that. And I never would have said anything like that. And it's just like, how can you, given the fact that you were in that same situation, that I could say the same thing to you, and it would devastate you if I said that. It would be like the fucking world ended, because how the fuck dare I? But I said a lot of hurtful things prior to that. A lot of hateful things prior to that. I mean, to a normal person, they were hurtful. But to her, she didn't give a fuck. She didn't take them to heart, I guess I should say. That's my part. And everything that happens in your life, you've created it. I created that monster in my life. I created her fucking up my life. I had a big hand in fucking up my life too, but it wouldn't have gone like it did were it not for her. So it's just the whole thing. You create your reality, your future, whatever, like your subconscious does all that. Your thoughts create. Manifesting 101 videos will be later on down the road. Not too later though. They're coming. Especially now that this is step 12 and we're done. But like I can give another example, like in my step 4, in the resentment one, I had high school. Bitchy girls, asshole, preppy, popular boys, bullying, all that dumb shit. I brought some of that on myself, not just because I was not particularly attractive, because I was an awkward looking teenager, and I really was. And it really started to go downhill in like 8th grade. Like 7th and 8th grade were like, but I got to high school and it was just, I mean, I don't know. I was an awkward looking kid and teenager. I didn't start to grow out of that until maybe like 10 or, well, I don't know, within the last 15 years. But they were mean to me for a reason. They were mean to me for things that I did. It wasn't only me, and they didn't have to react the way they did, but I know that I was annoying and I got on their nerves. I have that part in it, if nothing, it's the parts, like holding yourself accountable, like in these, like that, like that's good. So like it just, I don't know, it brings a level of maturity to you. Like you're not indestructible, you're not perfect, you're not like, oh, I'm always right and I'm always, I never do anything wrong and I'm just so perfect and I'm just like, oh, God's child, and, oh, yay me. Yeah, no. You suck too. You're perfectly fine, but in some part you suck. Own it. Like, it's not a bad thing. Like, it's not like, your defining feature is that you're just a horrible person. Everybody does sucky things. Everybody does shitty things. Everybody says shitty things. Don't act like you're not at fault for something that happened to you. Not in every situation. Not in every situation. Dumb shit like that. Now, if it's anything with abuse, anything assaulty, rape, you weren't wrong, or you weren't at fault. But the little superficial dumb shit, yeah. So don't. I'm sitting here saying you were at fault if something bad happened to you. No, not what I meant. For crime, an actual crime was committed. Sometimes people are at fault for getting killed, but they just are. could be the bad guy getting killed because he didn't, whatever. Anyway, woo! Way out of control. We're going to cut all that shit out in editing. So that is the end of step 12, and that is the end of round 1 of the EDA 12-step program. Thank Jesus. As I start working through these steps more, I will probably relate back to them. But I also found an app and a couple support group websites through my therapist last night that I'm going to be checking out. So I'll talk about them too. And in my little intermission video that's, 8-10 minutes long, something like that. 12, it's like 12 minutes maybe. It's in between steps 6 and 7. It talks a little bit about stuff that I have planned too. So we're going to move on with that, and we're going to say goodbye to the 12 steps for right now, in depth anyway, and I will see you in the next video. So be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and hit the bell icon when you do subscribe to be notified when I add new content. If you want to find me anywhere on social media, also in the description box, I've got my accounts for Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, not Twitter, TikTok, and Snapchat. So, till then, I will see you in the next video. Namaste, bitches. Bye.
I am brash. I am sassy.